So with the fractional work, I mean, what made you go into that direction versus say, just traditional consulting?
Well, I really find that organizations, when they are really looking to achieve sustainable growth,
Hmm.
the opportunity typically is one that they don't have the resources internally to bring
Hmm.
someone in full time, but they're looking to have someone on the team to collaborate with, to really help build, but not on that full time level. And
Yeah.
I'm a collaborator. And so, although I, still do some growth strategy consulting, I really like to be on the team. I
Yeah.
like to be able to coach people on the team, help build. One of my, I would say, superpowers is building high performing teams with top
Yeah.
performers, industry, superstars. And so when I do fractional work, it allows for me to really sit in the team, in the organization, understand what's happening, really, coach. And oftentimes I'm coaching the CEO if they're looking for that as well. And so it's really
Interesting.
helping to build, internally a lot of camaraderie and strategy in house versus sitting on the outside like a consultant.
Interesting, interesting. So what is that like? I mean, what's a day in the like or life or a week in the life look like? I mean, I imagine it varies from week to week, but kind of give us like a high level on that.
Well, the reality is typically you're leading the team very quickly, right? Typically, you're
Yeah.
being brought in as a fractional because there is a hole, there is a need. Now, if you're brought into an organization where the expectation is as a CRO, for example, right? Or if I can speak on behalf of other roles, if you think functional areas, if there's a gap and there's a need and that person hasn't been there, there's never been someone in that seat,
Hmm.
it's a lot less of the getting to know the team that's
Hmm.
reporting to you. It's getting to know the organization, getting to understand the goals, and then
Hmm.
whatever your playbook is, dependent upon your functional area, which all of us, if you're coming in as fractional, typically you've been doing this. And I don't want to say rinse and repeat, but it really does become I have my tool bag, right? I know what I need to accomplish with all
Yeah.
the different things that I've gathered over 25 plus years of a career in
Yeah.
this area. And so going in and saying, dependent upon the stage of the org,
Yeah.
dependent upon how many individuals there are or are not on the team, then getting to know, but you're the leader. They're looking to you for your expertise. They brought you in for a reason and they're paying you. And so
Yeah.
it really is making sure, like, I have to go back to communication is so key, right? And we know that in all relationships, but certainly as a fractional, when you're not there full time, you're in constant communication with the founder.
Hmm.
Typically, that's who you're reporting to if you're C suite. And it's making sure, okay, are we meeting the expectations? This is the plan. This was your vision. This is the strategy I've created to bounce against it. These are the individuals on the team. There's always, if there is a team, a very important thing that has to happen. There has to be an introduction of you as here's your background,
Hmm.
here's why we brought this person in. You are now reporting to this individual, right? Even though they're
Hmm.
in helping them to understand what fractional looks like we talked about earlier. But then it's up to you as a fractional to establish this trust,
Yeah.
or they're the one ultimately responsible to the board. And so they are going to, of course, want to get involved. And it's like, how do you communicate with them to ensure, sure, you can be involved, but I'm still going to do the thing that you brought me in to do? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It does. It does. It does. What's rattling around in my brain is that founder, that has built that company, and they have their hands in everything,
Yes.
and they recognize it's like, hey, I need a CRO because what we're doing in marketing, what we're doing in sales is just not connecting the dots. But there's still, feels like there should be some level of teaching them that they don't have to be all things to the organization. So it's like, it's that person you described that's just like, hey, I can't work with this person, but perhaps there's a glimmer of hope. I mean, does that exist? Is that a thing?
Do you mean, are there people who actually will let you do your thing? Is that the question?
No, the question is, you've got a founder that's never worked with a consultant, never worked with the fractional, is used to having their hands in everything, and then you come in and they really have potential, but they need a little bit of a paradigm shift to be able to, let go and do what you do. And so my question is really, so you see this, this one corner over here where that there's no opportunity to, make that impact that you can potentially make. But then there's this other side where, perhaps there's, through coaching and development, perhaps this founder can be that ideal client that you want. Does that happen?
Well, yes. And they have to want to be coached.
Yeah.
And that is where I've seen it go two different ways, right? Where if they know more than others, if that's their personality, where they tend to be the person who knows the most in the room, right?